Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the Christ College Canterbury Amendment Bill be heard for the third time. This amendment bill amends the 1910 Act to authorise the governing body of the college to apply property in circumstances to the benefit of the college as long as it is a charitable purpose, even though the property is not applied for the original purpose that it was given to the college. Established in 1856, Christ College is one of New Zealand's oldest schools, and over the years the college has received numerous bequests from various donors. Many are small. The college holds these funds on trusts to be applied for a specific purpose, but often the original purposes have now become redundant, are difficult to implement, or the property generates too little or too much money to fulfil the purpose. Presently, if the funds cannot be used for the stated purposes, they remain in the school's accounts, and despite the best intentions and desires of the donors, can do nothing to benefit the school or the students. This problem of trusts is a common problem for long-established organisations, and legislation has been passed by Parliament on several occasions to deal with the issue. The most recent was the Methodist Church of New Zealand Trust Act, passed in 2008. I would particularly like to thank the members of the Government Administration Select Committee and its chair, the Honourable David Parker, for intelligently and methodically working its way through this bill and dealing with issues quickly and efficiently. The Select Committee recommended that the bill with amendments should proceed, and that was good news for the Board of Governors of Christ College as it faced the clean-up of the September 4th earthquake. Several of the college's neo-Gothic buildings were damaged, although all those that had been strengthened to 67% of the building code were unscathed. Us people from Christchurch understand how important that earthquake strengthening and what percentage is strengthened. We discussed the earthquake damage at the second reading, and tonight I would like to update the House on the progress of restoration and rebuilding at the school. According to the Bursar of Christ College, Colin Sweetman, the repairs are progressing well. The school has been fully operational since the beginning of the third term, and all the cosmetic work has been completed in the classrooms and the day and boarding houses. They are now progressing to the exterior repairs to chimneys and gable ends as recommended by the engineers. But being stone, they will inevitably take some time and require skilled workmanship. They are also addressing the earthquake strengthening of the Cranmer Centre, which is the historic buildings that once belonged to Christchurch Girls High School and are now used by Christ College. They are working with both the Council and the Historic Places Trust to restore this complex of buildings. Other strengthening and refurbishment work in the school is now out for tender, and they plan to start that work immediately after the school finishes for the year. It will be a big job, and they'll be extremely busy for probably the next 6 to 12 months, but everything is underway to ensure that their wonderful neo-Gothic buildings, an important part of the architectural history of Christchurch, can be used and enjoyed for many years to come. The Select Committee found that the amendment bill was generally consistent with the law relating to charitable trusts, but suggested some improvements. It suggested that the bill use the wording from the Charitable Trust Act of 1957, which has an established body of case law supporting it, to avoid ambiguity. It also suggested the inclusion of a clause that would allow the governing body to use excess income from trusts for other purposes, which again is consistent with the Charitable Trusts Act. They wanted to make sure that the term "for the benefit of college" was not interpreted too widely. The funds can only be used for charitable purposes, so to remove doubt, the committee included a clause to spell that out. The Select Committee and the Christ College Board of Governors have worked well together over this legislation and have done an excellent job reshaping the bill. The Board of Governors have always made it clear that they wish to meet the objects of the trusts as closely as possible, and that their approach to any variation of purpose would be as sympathetic to and as consistent with the original as possible. They've also assured the Select Committee that before exercising this power, they will complete a detailed review of each of the trusts to ensure that the original purposes cannot continue to be fully met. This is a good piece of legislation. It gives the college more flexibility, but it also safeguards the management of those trusts and will ensure that the school and the students will receive benefits from those donations made over the past years in the most appropriate way. During the debate over the 1910 Act, which we are now amending, the Honourable Mr Jones said in the House that he hoped that the gentlemen entrusted with the charge of these endowments would realise the responsibility that rested on them. Well, 100 years on, we can see that Parliament's trust has been well rewarded. The gentlemen of the board have governed prudently and well, and the college has prospered. In 2010, the warden of the school is the Bishop of Christchurch, the Right Reverend Victoria Matthews, and the chairman of the board is Mrs Mary Ross. Under their leadership, I believe, the Board of Governors, both male and female, will set the college on the right path for the next 100 years. Thank you, Mr Speaker.
The question is that the motion be agreed to.
Mr Speaker.
Call